chemical abortion, the abortion pill, has been basically in the U.S. since the last year of the President Clinton administration. Kind of forced it through FDA, approved by the FDA back in 2000, and has been steadily growing over the years. And now, 20-some years later, it is the predominant use for abortion. Chemical abortion is so readily available, not just through abortion clinics, but online with almost no safeguards for the woman. But thankfully, there is an antidote.
Imagine taking a pill you instantly regret. A decision you wish you could take back before it's too late. For thousands of women, that moment of panic is all too real. But thanks to one man's leadership, there's now new hope, a second chance, and even the possibility to save a life. Our guest today is Jor-El Godsey, president of Heartbeat International, the largest network of pregnancy help centers, maternity homes, and adoption agencies in the world. Since stepping into leadership, he has empowered thousands of pro-life leaders across more than 100 countries, launched initiatives like the Abortion Pill Rescue Network, and stood firm against lawsuits from powerful pro-abortion states. All while keeping the focus on compassion, practical help, and the simple truth that every woman deserves real choice. From late-night calls to life-saving interventions, he's been at the forefront of giving women the last chance to choose life. I'm Brian Westbrook, and this is Living Pro-Life. Thank you very much, Jor-El, for joining us on the program. It's a pleasure to have you.
Great to be with you, Brian.
Absolutely. Well, Jor-El is president of Heartbeat International. I know you're doing a lot with pregnancy centers and thousands of pregnancy centers and pregnancy center directors and holding events, all kinds of things. But today we want to talk about abortion pill reversal. So let's get started. What is it, and why do we need to be concerned about it?
Great. Well, it's actually an amazing intervention to something that has been growing. We've known that the chemical abortion, the abortion pill, has been basically in the U.S. since the last year of the President Clinton administration. Kind of forced it through FDA. The abortion pill, as you well know, Brian, but for our audience sake that may not know, the abortion pill is not one pill, but two, right? So the first pill is mifepristone. Yep. That's the kind of exotic lab-created pill that is designed to starve the baby of progesterone, to block progesterone, which effectively will kill the baby. And then the second pill in the abortion pill regimen is misoprostol, which basically contracts the uterus and expels the baby. So what happened was this was approved by the FDA back in 2000 and has been steadily growing over the years. And now, 20-some years later, it is the predominant use for abortion. We know that the Guttmacher Institute indicates as of 2023 that 64% of all abortions are chemical abortions or from the abortion pill. We suspect that that number is now well over 75, maybe even as high as 80% of all abortions are being performed through chemical abortion. Many of those are being sent online, as you know. They've reduced the REMS for those pills have been steadily reduced, first by the Obama administration, then in a major way by the Biden administration, which is one of the reasons why we think it's helped abortion grow back to over 1 million abortions every year in the U.S. that we know of.
Well, and this is post-Dobbs, so here we are, or post-Roe, and now the Dobbs decision. It seems like abortion just continues to flood into our country, maybe not in some of the southern states, but certainly there in Illinois, across the river from us, but then also along the coast. So tell me a little bit more about that.
No, it's happening everywhere. In fact, I was just reading a study that came out earlier today. It was produced in the Journal of American Medical Association, JAMA. It was some interesting researchers from the abortion side was suddenly talking about how online abortions were being provided into those southern states, into life states, we would call them, because their laws indicate that they're protecting life, but the practices of the abortion industry suggest that they're not doing anything of the sort. Abortions are happening in every single state in the union at numbers that we haven't seen since, I don't know, since the since the 1990s, actually, or the early 2000s. We had seen abortion numbers drop to as low as, I think the lowest I've seen was 800,000, maybe just below that. But now they've climbed back to up over 1 million. And that's in part due to the fact that chemical abortion is so readily available, not just through abortion clinics, but online with almost no safeguards for the woman. We've seen stories, you've seen them just recently. Boyfriend ordered the pill, used his girlfriend's license to secure them. There was nobody checking that information. That he received them, basically ground them up, put it in a drink that she was taking, and effectively working to abort the child without her knowledge. Like we know this is the issue, but thankfully there is an antidote. Now, we would rather that she not find herself taking that first pill to eliminate the life of her child through a chemical path or any other path for that matter. But at least we have the ability to help her potentially change her mind if she realizes that's not really what she wants. And that's where abortion pill reversal comes in. It's really the administration of something that the woman already produces on behalf of her child. The female body produces progesterone, which is designed to sustain a pregnancy. And when she takes that first pill, mifepristone, it basically starves the baby of progesterone. So the intervention that came actually through first doctor that we know of in 2006, Dr. Harrison in North Carolina, was approached by a woman who said, I don't want to go through with this. I've taken the first pill. I don't want to go through with this. We had something similar in 2008 with a doctor in San Diego named Delgado. And in both instances, they were able to help save the life of those babies in the womb after that first pill using a high dosage of progesterone. It's a bioidentical version of progesterone, not the synthetic kind that mimics what the woman produces herself. And so if we can get that to her inside of that 72-hour window, there's a potential for upwards of 2/3 of those babies to be saved from that abortion that has already begun.
Wow. Now, what do you say to those who say, well, this is not tested or this is dangerous? What do you say about this?
Well, we have lots to say, and mostly in the form of all the studies that exist on abortion, or that are talking about abortion pill reversal, that really discuss the issue of progesterone. Every single study proves that it works. Even the ones that the abortion industry would foist upon people and say it doesn't work, it actually does. Their own study shows that 80% of those that were in that study were actually effective in reversing the effects of that first pill, mifepristone. So every study tells us that, and frankly, we now count more than 7,000 lives that have been saved because of abortion pill reversal, that we're able to say each one of those is a life that testifies against that false narrative that somehow it's not effective.
So why are they coming after? I heard that many of the states are coming after Heartbeat International and the work you're doing specifically on this abortion pill reversal network that you have built. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, actually, we found out in 2023 that the state of California was filing a lawsuit against us. They would describe us promoting abortion pill reversal as being a fraudulent or deceptive practice. And their hope in that allegation is to tie us to some kind of commercial speech because they presume we're making a lot of money from this, which we're not. We don't charge for our services. We tried to explain that to them, but they somehow think otherwise. We basically are trying to help women have that last chance to choose life. And this is one of the things that we found out through this process with the state of California, and then later the state of New York. About 6 months after that, we learned that Letitia James, name some of us are familiar with if you watch any portion of the news at all, they don't have enough other things to do, that they're also after the pregnancy centers. They sued Heartbeat International and a dozen pregnancy centers throughout the state of New York for the same reason, alleging the same things. And so we're fighting this battle on both coasts, both abortion states, as I would call them. We are seeing that they're aggressively going after us for providing this information, helping women find that last chance to choose life, which is what's really interesting, Brian, is that, the so-called pro-choice crowd is suddenly very much against the choice of her choosing to actually withdraw her consent from an abortion and choose life for her baby.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of cover up here, and I think they're just coming after you because it's effective. So tell us a few of those stories. I know, statistics are one thing, lawsuits are another, news articles, but I'm sure there's not just 7,000 babies, but 7,000 stories. So what's maybe some of the more impactful ones for you?
Well, some of them, they're all unique in their own way. They're all powerful in their own way. But really what they speak of is the desperation of women who felt forced or coerced. And we can tell you that for a fact. We've talked to women in particular who said, I didn't want to do this, but my boyfriend forced me, or my significant other forced me to do that. And again, we're seeing some of those stories come out in the public now, and we're seeing actually some lawsuits that are being generated because of that. We think that those are important, but we get to hear those stories every day, and not from women that are willing necessarily to make that a very public reality. But the cool thing is that we've seen women have that courage. In fact, I was able to hear a story that came out of Colorado where a young woman felt like it was the only path that she had. She already had a baby. She was not in a situation where she felt like she could have another one. She had taken that first pill. She was told to take the second pill in 24 hours. She was feeling like there was no other option for her. Fortunately, her mom came up and saw her kind of in a state of distress, and then immediately started, when she said, do you want to go through with this? She said, no. They immediately began to Google. They found us. We were able to answer the phone late on a Friday night because we have a 24/7 team that's able to intercept these women and, or to be there for them when they call. And that's exactly what happened with McKenna. She reached us. We were able to connect her with a nurse practitioner who was able to prescribe progesterone for her, who walked with her, showed her an ultrasound after that. After 13 weeks, we were able to confirm the baby was alive. Now, I've met that baby. That baby is little Selah. She is beautiful, just about almost a year old. Happened to meet her just a couple of weeks ago. So it was a privilege to play a part in that. And that's really our goal, is to connect to folks like McKenna who for whatever reason, after they've taken that first pill, they're looking to change their mind. Now, not everyone is successful in those situations, but I had a young woman really convict me of being careful with what I would say about those for which it's not successful. She said, her name was Maria, and she said, Jor-El, don't minimize the fact of what you gift her when you at least help her try. Because even though her baby may not survive, you've given her the ability to really have the knowledge that she did everything she could to reverse that decision, and that's a gift to her for her lifetime. It may not be successful, but it helps, at least in some small, redeem the moment of her taking that pill and give her something for the future that she can rest on and lean into. And whether it's successful or not, we want to be there for her to help her make a different choice than she was making just even hours before.
Yeah. And I think just for the listeners, you did a great job with it earlier, but tell us about that second pill and, is it effective after that second pill or only before? And what exactly is that? And why is it so important to do it earlier?
Well, so the effect of the medicine, it has its limitations, but it's we're most able to interact with it and really push it aside when we can flood the zone with progesterone as soon as possible. So that way, the less time it has to take effect, the more that it can be effective in countering what the mifepristone, that first pill, is trying to do. Now, once misoprostol is really involved in the subject, there are no studies that really show what happens after both pills have been administered to. We've actually heard of some that have been successful. We've heard of many that are not. So we don't make any claims particularly about after both pills have been taken. But if we can reach her in those moments, and frankly, Brian, this is what's unique, or what's really interesting about that whole dynamic, is most of the women will find us, about 75% of them will reach us within 24 hours of taking that first pill.
Wow.
There's something about it that she's been pressured, or she feels like there's no other options, and yet somehow something breaks through after she's taken that pill to say, I don't really want to do this. Now, we happen to think that might be the Holy Spirit. That might be, her own conscience, that she knew going into it that it wasn't the right thing for her. And now she's looking for a way to change her mind. And so she's able to find us at Google abortionpillreversal.com. Reach us at optionline.org, either one, and we can connect her with a nurse who will help her understand the decision that she's asking for, help her understand what lies ahead, and help her make an informed decision to have that one last chance to choose life for her child.
Well, tell us a little bit more about Heartbeat International broadly. This is an incredibly important piece of that puzzle, yet I think you guys do incredible things even beyond this, one of these newest programs you have.
We were initially known as Alternatives to Abortion International. So our history is all about helping there be alternatives. And of course that we want to help her in that decision-making process so she doesn't feel like abortion is anywhere near the right thing for her to do. Certainly it's not a decision everyone can live with. That's what we want the most, right? We want a decision that everyone involved can live with, including the child. But oftentimes she's feeling like she doesn't have any other way to go, any other place to turn. And that's where pregnancy help centers come in. That's where maternity homes or adoption agencies are all part of the Heartbeat Network. As you mentioned earlier, we have almost 4,000 locations in 102 countries of affiliated pregnancy help organizations that are with us. And that gives us an opportunity to connect people to hopefully somewhere close to them. Now that's very possible in the US. It's harder in other nations. For instance, we know many nations of which are, maybe a couple million or more that only have one or two pregnancy centers in the entire nation. But nevertheless, these are things that we get to do and work on and encourage, help advance and unite the pregnancy help movement worldwide.
This is incredible, Jor-El. We've gotten to meet face-to-face numerous times and strategize about a variety of different things. So what's next? Like a lot of our listeners are thinking, well, the Dobbs decision happened and everything's great, kind of kick up their heels, enjoy life. But it doesn't seem like the Dobbs decision had the impact that I think the pro-life movement was hoping for 50 years. So what's next, whether it's for Heartbeat International or generally for the pro-life movement?
Well, we work specifically with the pregnancy help part of the pro-life movement. So we see that really we look at everything through that lens. As you know, Brian, the answer really wasn't in the reversal of Roe. It was only a piece of the puzzle that had to happen. Now the fight is in all 50 states. Again, just because they've passed pro-life laws doesn't necessarily mean that no abortions are happening. And pregnancy help is necessary now more than ever. But we think that we need to take a page out of really the abortion industry. What they've done is they've taken abortion from the different clinics, from the locations, the on-the-ground brick-and-mortar locations, to an online reality, to where abortion is available in essence 24/7. So we need pregnancy help to be available 24/7. It's one of the reasons why we operate Option Line to kind of help answer that call initially. But we're finding that we need to get more and more of the pregnancy help folks online around the clock, and that needs to happen more and more. There's only 1 million people that we need to reach, and so we're going to need a lot more people than what we can do, what organizations everywhere can do, so that we can be available with as much service as we can around the clock whenever she's looking for that abortion pill.
Well, Jor-El, president of Heartbeat International, my guest today. Thank you for being part of the program, and thank you for the incredible work that you do.
Thank you, Brian.